Hello, my friends, family, and esteemed colleagues. Uh, I have been asked if there is any way we can measure what is our energy in a body. And since I have explained that what we call energy is a voltage, so is there any way we can measure actually the cellular voltage in our body? Of course there is. There are sensitive now instruments being made. Unfortunately, they are quite expensive. As far as I know, there are computer programs which can actually even measure capture your thoughts, because it's all electromagnetic field. So if it's electromagnetic field, it can be captured uh, and reproduced. So the thing is that I'm always searching in a ways how we can be independent. And we do have the most sophisticated equipment there is. And this equipment is our brain. If brain is so sophisticated that it can create our reality based on the information and belief system and expectation it has, then it should be able to tell us what is voltage of our body, what is the energetic charge. Now, many healers can see your aura, for example, and according to your aura, they know right away energetically what is happening with your body. They can even sense aura separately or energetic field separately. For example, our friend here, Christine, she is now practicing just basically approaching you slowly and sensing the energetic field, and just with her hands she can tell, okay, how far the field extends. This again depends on her personal tuning. So more and more tuned she is, the weaker field she can find out, she can sense. She can also come close to your body and actually feel places in your body where the field is weak and correlate it to with organs. Okay, everybody has this ability. Now the thing is that this has to be culture. This has to be practiced. Every time you want to be good at something, you got to practice. For me or any dowser, it is very easy. I have here a cat problem. It can be very easy to gather any information, basically using a little tool like these little rods, and through a dowsing I can extrapolate the answer. Because remember, this is the most sophisticated tool that we have. There is no computer that can beat it. Okay, so putting chip to enhance our abilities is actually doing the contrary. It is going to bring down your abilities, because it will be you will start relying on the chip and possibilities that a chip can give you, ignoring this instrument. So how can we find out the energetic field of our body? Is our immune system strong or not? Because that depends exactly on this. Very simple. Here with the rods. And everybody can practice. It's not really difficult. I do it very seldom and I get pretty good answers to my questions. For example, how do you use it again? Refresh memory. Depending from whom you learn, the answer could vary. In which way? Well, for a friend of mine, Alet, For her, when she douses, her positives, the rods open, and negatives, rods close. Well, my teacher, with whom I did a lot of dowsing, actually he did the dowsing, I did the questioning, in St. Martin, Roger Linson, for him, yes is when rods close and no when it open. And for of course, as I explained, that the brain is nothing more than instrument, and the way you program it, this is the way it is going to act. Since Roger was my teacher, for me also it came that yes is this way and no is this way. But just to make sure and to start tuning, every session you start with question. You basically drop the rods, try to have free mind so you don't move your muscles with opinions, and basically raise the rods and ask the question. Or ask the question as you are raising the rods, or before you raise the rods, all right? So, for me, first question, of course, would be, show me my yes. Whoops, here we go. Show me my no. Whoops, here we go. So, that's how it is. Just to reinforce it, to tune in, can I douse? May I douse? Should I douse? Okay, so we are tuned. So now, question. What is my aura? Okay. Is my aura strong? Well, this is a stupid question, because strong, it all depends. What do you mean by this? So you see, questions have to be precise. More specific is the question, then more specific is going to be the response. So I can ask, well, is my aura larger than 2 meters around me? Says yes. Well, is it larger than 6 meters? Says yes. Well, is it larger than 10 meters? Says yes. Is it larger than 15 meters? Says no. Okay, so is it 14 meters? Says yes. Well, is it maybe 14.5 meters? Yes. Is it 15 meters? Yes. Is it 15.5 meters? No. All right, so my aura is exactly 15 meters. Now, this signifies that it is pretty strong field. So now, let me see about cellular voltage. Is my cellular voltage more than 1 volt? Yes? Is it more than 1.5 volts? Says no. All right? So is it 1.2 volts? Is it 1.3 volts? It's getting there. It's 1.4 volts. 1.3.5. Okay, here we are just on break. 1.3.3 volts. Okay, so somewhere around there, which is pretty good, because fully charged is 1.4. So my immunity is going to be pretty good, because I have a very stable field. The voltage, cellular voltage, is high, and since everything is vibration, high voltage makes this vibration very stable, which means if any pathogen, which is again just energy field, tries to mingle with my frequencies, well, it is going to be rejected because it cannot change this strong field. This is from quantum point, but from a chemical point of physics, Newtonian physics as we know it, since the cell has a strong charge, it will have a pretty strong magnetic field. So the electromagnetic field around our cells will not allow electromagnetic field of another thing, could be bacteria, virus, fungus, or some protein, come close to it. So it is going to keep it on a distance, it will repel it. And because of this, there is no possibility of disease. This is why whenever we are dealing with toxic cells become acidic because they cannot, most of the time, because they cannot balance their acidity, because for this they need plasma. And if we are low on plasma, and if our plasma in an extracellular liquid is toxic, like blood, then the cell is not going to absorb it, and it will slowly dehydrate, and it won't be able to expel toxic acidic elements. And more acidic the cell is, the same like a car battery, less charge it can hold. So you can eat and charge it. You can be briefly happy and smile, and all this energy from the heart is going to flood the cells. At that moment you are fine. But as soon as the excitement drops or little fear sets in, brain is like a sponge. It will suck the energy. Fear is a strong emotion, and this emotion sucks the energy. So if your energy voltage drops, bingo, you are susceptible to diseases. This is why old people, which are obviously more toxic, because toxic is cumulative thing, they are going to have more problems. And since virus, for example, is nothing more than energy that is going to shift your field, and your cells are going to try to repel it, try to fight against it, and in physical form they actually, I call it, they vomit, they excrete this energy. Then if their stomach is full, if cells are full of toxicity, as they are rejecting this toxic element or energy or flu, they are going to throw a lot of their own garbage into the blood, and we are coming up with blood detox, which has all the symptoms we call flu. And not only this, now the voltage is very low. So what keeps your blood elements, your erythrocytes, leukocytes, thrombocytes, all the bacteria, fungus, and proteins which are in the blood, what keeps them apart? Magnetic fields. They are all positively charged, and they all repel each other, and they are being repelled from the walls of the blood vessels. But if electric charge drops, so does magnetic field. And what happens? Everything starts banging to each other. And as the heart compresses, it pushes one cell onto another, and you have a blood streaming in a clumps of cells. It's not regular, and that's why there is a possibility of damage, of actual touch, which can create coagulation. Now to prevent this, doctor says, oh, we'll give you blood thinners because, as I said, there are clumps of blood going through, so blood thinner. Well, it's not a blood thinner. What we are being given is anticoagulant because doctors have no clue. They don't tell us in medical school anything about the truth, anything about electricity, how it works. We are electric robots. So we are just preventing formation of coagulum. And we use drugs for this, like aspirin, for example. And then even this clumping is not going to result in coagulum. Now, you can see that some people in this flu season that they call COVID-19, some people have a problem with lungs and they have thrombosis, they have coagulation of blood going. Well, this is the reason, because they are extremely toxic and this energy is a particular energy. But why is it so particular? Because we are scared shitless. I mean, here in Peru, the most frightened are the doctors and the nurses. You have even emergency hospital that shut the door. People with appendix come to be operated. Doctors don't want to open, they don't want to deal with anybody. They are so scared that they are going to contract the disease. And of course, many of them do contract it because the fear drops their energetic field, their voltage so low that they actually start killing themselves. It's like a black magic. If you believe in it, and the magician that you highly respect tells you that tomorrow you're going to die, well, you will die. You will kill yourself from the fear of expectation. Remember, brain is nothing more than a programmed machine. It is programmed with information that it holds true. And then when it gets some information, it runs it through the filter of belief and spits out the most probable outcome. And because it believes in it, it expects it, and what it expects, it shows you through the eyes, which becomes your reality. This is what we call reality. Everything is just light. But things are hard or transparent or soft depending on the programming of the brain. So, fear is our worst enemy, but once we start understanding our reality, then we can learn how to control this fear. I do not have fear of anything, so I'm not being touched with any of these diseases. Now, practice. Start practicing. You can use kinesiology. You don't need to use rods if you don't want to. You can use kinesiology, for example, like this. You make a loop with a hand, with a right or left hand, depending which is your strong hand. So you make a loop, you push your finger through it and exert certain pressure and say positive things. Like, I'm dark, or yes, yes, it's positive, yes. And then say negative. No, oops, it just loops just goes without you even thinking about it. So this is how you can start practicing. Again, it's practice, because obviously even the rods don't move by themselves. It's not magnetic field that moves them. It is you, your muscles. But subconsciously, you are communicating with your body. You are communicating with your innate, asking them to help you. And rods are just extension of your hands, so you can see visibly minor changes. And this is how you communicate with your innate. More you do it, Roger, he doesn't need any more of the rods, because he lives there and he knows already the answer. Because he feels the twitch, he feels what is happening in his body. This is why Christine doesn't need the rod for this. She just puts hands and goes and feels your fields. So we are getting there. We are becoming more and more sensitive. But the knowledge has to be there. We have to start absorbing the new knowledge, because without it, we won't get anywhere. If you continue believing that government is your friend, that the doctors know what they're talking about, and they can only heal you, well, you are doomed. Because doctors know nothing. Everything we are being told in medical school is a lie. Okay? Salt does not increase blood pressure. You can have as much salt as you want. If you have normal blood pressure, it will stay normal. If you suffer from high blood pressure, it will be high. Has absolutely. If you suffer from low pressure, it will be low, no matter how much salt you eat. Okay, so it's nothing to do. It's all lies. Kidney is no problem eliminating salt. Everything is measured through sensor, because brain programs this robot. And everything has its parameters. Something increases in the blood, you eliminate it. But you can only eliminate it if you have enough plasma, because since we are electrical things, electricity doesn't flow through water. Water has to become ionic, and this is through minerals. And minerals come in our body through salts. Everybody who tells you, no, it comes from chelation, from plants, baloney. You can try it. If you suffer from metal poisoning, if doctors tell you that you have been poisoned, you can chelate with plants as long as you want. I had a client, 10 years he was chelating. Okay, he felt better, but they constantly were detecting a lot of metals in his body, year after year after year. 3 months of hydration on water with sea salt, and helping with Dr. Beck electrostimulator, blood stimulator, cleanser. Here. This is one made by Sota. Little machine. Has 2 probes. You put on them cotton sleeves, dip them in the water, locate them right here on arteries, not the veins that you see, but where you feel the pulse, right here and here. There's 2 places. Underneath your thumb, you can feel the pulse, and underneath your pinky in the first channel, if you push, it's deeper, so it's more difficult to feel, but there's another artery. They loop here. So here you put those contacts, you put battery on, you crank it up, and you feel pulsation in your palm, which means you put them right. And this charges your blood. It puts half ampere, half amp. Small current, but of 30 volts. And this actually stimulates cellular hydration. It overruns even the cellular detection system, which means that even if blood is toxic, the cells are going to start hydrating very quickly, because you start producing potassium rapidly. As I said, potassium needs salt, oxygen, and energy. And since you give it energy and high voltage, it will start producing potassium like crazy, and you start hydrating, and as the cell hydrate, they start pushing the toxins out with potassium toxins, and so the potassium level may increase a little bit, but you start pushing all the metals out. And this guy, after 3 months pulsing, he had to go to Germany for his annual test to check. And then he writes me back, wow, Darko, they didn't find any metal in me. This is incredible. So 10 years he was chelating, 0 result. 3 months he was hydrating with water and sea salt, helping with little electrostimulation, and bingo, completely clean, right? So what we are told is baloney, is nonsense. And we can only know the truth if we search for it, not through books, because nobody knows anything. My last ayahuasca told me and ayahuasca, Christine, we worked together as a team, and told her and me the same message. Forget everything that you know from before, that you have been told, that you have read. Doesn't matter where it comes from, because everything is laced with lie. May not be full lie, but it's laced with lie. So you cannot depend on it. It's time we forget everything and start fresh. And how you start fresh? Again, ayahuasca said, but I'm doing this now for 20 years already, intuitively. No, intuitively. Of course, there is something that is guiding me, and that something is called spirit. So, for 20 years already, I'm not reading any material from anybody else, especially not medical material and studies, because I found out they are all fake. What is fake? What can be benefited from financially for the medical and pharmaceutical mafia? It's a mafia. This is being promoted. Of course, the low-level mafiosos, they have no clue of the big picture. So your average Joe Schmo doctor has no clue, because it only sees the little book. In his mind, he is half a god, because, you know, he can use some medication and create pretty incredible things with the body. But there is no doctor which uses the school knowledge that can heal anything, because we are actually being trained how to worsen things. Medication is toxic. If you have toxic body that is now showing you symptoms because of its toxicity, how can more toxicity help? And every medicament is toxic. It's suppressing. So, anyway, you can find all this information in my blog, in my books. If anything particular is of your interest, you can ask me, leave a comment, ask me a question, or go on my site and start reading, start learning. It is very simple. It is so simple that it's laughable, because you realize that Bouchon was 100% right. It's not the bacteria, virus, or fungus that cause disease. It is the pollution of your body. And bacteria and fungus, they basically feed on debris. They cannot feed or attack your cells because cellular magnetic field doesn't allow it. So they can only feed on the debris. So when they find a bacteria in your body, it just means that you are toxic. They find Escherichia coli. Well, you are toxic. This is why it can grow there. And you are not having problem now with Escherichia coli, but the toxicity has increased a little bit more, and now your body decided, well, it really has to cleanse it. And all the symptoms, the fever, the inflammation, the pain, all these symptoms that are following every disease are nothing more than symptoms of detoxifying of the blood. Well, sometimes if a lot of toxicity comes, it can choke the system, especially if you are low on plasma. And you will be low on plasma because we are being programmed through indoctrination centers that we call schools. We are programmed that we should not be eating salt and eat as little as possible. Well, you urinate, you lose salt. You sweat, you lose salt. You cry, you lose salt. You go to bathroom, you use salt. if you don't replenish it, you become low on minerals, and you become low on minerals, you become low on water, because if water would rise and minerals would stay low, the conductivity would be low and you will die. Electricity will not flow. This is why it's absolutely crucial for plasma levels to be high so body can function the way it's programmed. But if you have low salt, you cannot have good conductivity and you cannot have sufficient plasma in your body. So you are low on blood. And it's going to be darker, it's going to be denser, it's going to be thicker. It's dehydrated. But you cannot hydrate with water, you can only hydrate with plasma. So it needs, water has to be in ionic state. And the way as we are created, it has to have minerals to be ionic. Okay, this will be it for today. I hope this makes sense to you. And again, don't believe nothing I say. Try it. Try it for yourself. If you're not sure that your body would respond and you can use the rods, one of the easy ways to know if your body is responsive is basically stand, close your eyes, relax, and when you have good balance, start thinking of something beautiful. For me, okay, beautiful trimaran, Nil 51 and sailing, and whoops, I'm starting falling forward, which is positive. Forward is positive. So I have to balance with my toes so I don't go down. And then again I can relax. And now I think of something negative. What negative? Oh, what is happening now with the riots, with these fascists? Okay, whoops, right away I go backwards. So obviously I'm responsive. And if you do the same, and if you feel responsibility, you can use rods, you can use kinesiology, whatever, which means that you can relax sufficiently to do this. Some people basically cannot relax. They have always expectation. Okay, oh, well, I don't feel nothing. Oh, if your brain is busy and you are expecting, of course, you are not communicating. Same like meditation. If your brain is always busy, you cannot meditate. You have to be able to relax and let go to be able to meditate. Everybody can do it. Everybody can be hypnotized because we are in hypnotic state. Our experience of reality is hypnotic state. Okay, but for example, me, I tried to be hypnotized 3 times, no success, because I could not let go in meditation. This is why I also cannot meditate well, because thoughts keep bubbling and I keep concentrating on certain things. With me it's always science, and I get great information without really being in full meditative state. So don't worry about it, give it a shot, try it, start practicing. We are in a new world now, so we have to get there. We have to practice because the possibilities are unlimited, because soon we are going to be able to manifest instantly. But to do all of this, well, we have to start with the baby steps. So start tuning in. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Till next time.